Hello and welcome to the January 10th, 2023 Select Board meeting for the town of Berwick. There we go. I'd like to call this meeting to order. We have the entire board present, town manager, town clerk, members of the public, and special guests. Can we please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
They do that in school now? They don't say they lose grade.
First, we have the approval of our meeting minutes from December 27th, 2022.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second those.
Motion and a second. Any further comments? All those in favor? Mark abstains because he wasn't present. So we are all set there. Next, we have first public comment. This is separate from the discussion we will have soon for the Berwick Water Company. So is there any public comment not about that? All right, I will close the first public comment. And that brings us to our public hearing for the on the Maine Water Company and Berwick Operations contract. James, can you give us a little background?
Absolutely. So the reason for tonight is to hear your questions. And the reason for considering this contract is the town of Berwick Water Department has been faced with some operations challenges and some staffing challenges. To find level 4 operators has proved challenging. Right now we have an interim water operator from York, and I think Maine Water has helped us over the past couple of months. They've been there, and we've been considering a contract, and this contract would include water operations. So that includes customer service, billing, administrative services, routine operations, and maintenance services, and non-routine and capital services. So I know one of the first questions would be, is this going to cost money for the taxpayers? And that answer is no. Is it going to cost a rate increase? The answer to that's also no. Going to this contract will not cause a rate increase. If you could look at our, we have a rate increase that has already been planned to go into effect for July 1, 2023. And that is to cover the cost of our water bond and water improvement project. So the cost for contracting with Maine Water is $22,000 per month. That's in the contract that is also available online. We have under the news section of the town website, it's titled Berwick Water Operations and Maine Water Company. You can go there. There's a repository of information. Maine Water was here at the previous select board meeting. That video is on that page. We were updating frequently asked questions. So any questions and answers that questions that are answered tonight will be on that page as well. So the contract is available right now for your review. And the cost for typical staffing of the water department is $24,592 a month. And that pro forma that shows the town cost are available as well. So it does constitute a slight cost savings. So again, tonight's to hear your questions and comments on the contract, and I'll kick it back to the chair.
All right. Yes, and before we get to any public questions, I just wanted to reiterate a few concerns that I'd seen online. This is, should we enter into this contract, the Maine Water Company will not have control over rates. They will not be able to change rates. That's still under the town's purview. We control that. They do not own our water plant or our water lines. The town still owns them. They are just going to be operating them for us under contract. The upgrades to the water plant that have already been planned for years to deal with previous issues of high manganese and drought conditions, those plans are still going through. Those plans are not going to cost more. They're still on the same timetable. And basically, once they're completed, should this contract go through, Maine Water will just have a more advanced plant in which to operate. So, with that being said, any member of the public can come forward and ask a question. Just come up. Anybody?
Does Maine Water want to speak?
Maine Water, is there anything that you want to add?
I don't have anything to add. Do appreciate the invite 2 weeks ago. And,
If you could step to the microphone, please.
Of course, yeah. I do not have anything else to add. I appreciate the invite tonight and as well as the invite 2 weeks ago. If the town is still interested in the contract agreement, we're prepared and happy to do it and to start the conversions that we had talked about 2 weeks ago. And thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Where are you guys from?
Oh, please.
That was the only question.
Oh, sure.
Yep.
The question is, where are they from?
Yes, Maine Water Company's office is based out of Saco, Maine.
May we ask a
Yes,
question?
go right ahead.
I'm sorry to engage you in calisthenics here, but just so that the question is being asked, one of the reasons that people have known we've had a shortage of operators there to effectively, so you have additional resources should we have a problem here in Berwick that you could draw from to back up any issues that may occur here in Berwick. Is that correct?
That's correct. So we would and in our plan putting together this proposal, we had put together internally a staffing plan to staff, and of course any water operation is at risk of if you lose someone, if someone leaves, if you need to move to a termination, if someone gets sick, all of those things that put you at risk. Around the state, we have 60 employees in water operations, 60 water professionals that we in the past have moved around when needed. So we're certainly prepared to do that for Berwick, but we're prepared to do that with all of our systems as well.
But we don't have to worry about employees or staffing or anything. That's nothing to do with us anymore.
That under the agreement, that would be
That's where
Maine
I
Water's
read it.
responsibility.
Okay.
That's correct,
Right.
Mark. Yep.
If you got a question, you got.
Yeah, please ask if you got a
Where do the
question.
employees go that already work for the water company? If we're gonna replace them with these guys, we don't need them, right?
They get offered a job, right? Does this employees get offered a job? No?
Right
We only
now,
have one.
right now, there's only one full-time employee of the water department that is employed by the town of Berwick. We have another employee who's basically contracted out through York County, right? So,
York Water District.
yeah, York
York
Water
Water
District.
District.
So essentially, under this new contract, they would cease being an employee of the town, and if they want to continue, working in the town or working, then they would apply for a job with Maine Water,
Right.
and get a job through them. But from our perspective, we would not directly pay any water employees anymore.
Right. Which was one of the issues we had, is maintaining certified water operators.
Yeah,
And
that's the
That's
big
why
issue.
it's important to have those backup, because if we have issues that come up, they have the resources to say, okay, this person's out, let's move somebody else in, to ensure that we don't go without a licensed operator.
Yeah.
Could I just get your name for the record, please?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Bob,
Bob, and your address?
Berwick,
Could you share your last name?
Thompson.
Thank you.
Just for the record, she has to ask that for the minutes,
Right.
because this is a public hearing, they have to know who is asking the questions, whether they're residents of Berwick, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So not prying into anybody's affairs or anything. So there's
The one question I have is we pay for town water and sewer.
If you could step to the mic, please. 'Cause people at home are listening also, and they can't hear you when you're sitting in the
We
audience.
pay for the town water and sewer, but I live out on Guinea Road. I use my own water and my own sewer. So my vote in this shouldn't have anything to do, because if I have to pay for town sewer already, when the town runs the line by my property, I'm gonna have a pump to pump the crap up the hill. I've been paying for the sewer this whole time, correct?
Well,
No,
No.
well,
the
We're not paying for the sewer.
yeah, the
It
sewer.
was on my bill. I haven't seen my bill for 2 years, but the wife has been
You've
taking
been paying
care
a
of.
sewer bill?
Yes, sir.
You live on Guinea Road.
Yes, sir.
Damn thing doesn't go down that far.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. But I still had to pay a sewer bill and water. I called the town manager up and told, when my well goes dry, I'm coming down for water.
That doesn't seem right, does it?
It's two separate bills because it's two separate departments.
Yeah.
And the sewer especially is sort of their own quasi-municipality.
Yeah.
So that seems really odd that you would get a bill from them.
I looked for
Outside
the
of-
bill. The wife couldn't find it in time for me to get here. I was running later as it was.
Yeah.
But I can bring it down to the town hall and show
Why
you.
don't you bring them right down the sewer plant?
well,
Okay.
just for clarification, the Berwick Sewer District is separate from the town here. Is they are their own entity. They make their own rules. They go through their own rate increases. So sewer has nothing to
Nothing to do with town.
with
Right, yeah.
with
Okay.
us directly. As far as the water,
You getting a water bill too?
well,
No, you.
I'm not sure about the water bill. I know the sewer was on there, and I was like, what are we paying sewer for? We don't even use the town sewer.
as far as the water and the sewer also is we all pay for it. I live on Cemetery Road, and town water and sewer doesn't go by my house. But is in our budget every year, there's a line item for us to pay the water department and the sewer department, the sewer for the municipal
Yeah.
facilities. But the town also all of us also pays for the hydrant fees and things like that, for the fire protection. So.
Right.
No, people say that, no, I'm not on it, it doesn't affect you. It does in a way, we all pay for some of it.
Oh, yeah. But we don't get a separate bill.
Right, no, it's all included in the taxes in the budget.
Right. You don't even see it in your tax bill.
Right. Well, just like the school tax. I mean, it's everybody pays that. The people in
You
town
see
all
that?
vote number in the outskirts, so they get screwed. All right, thank you.
No problem. Yeah.
Peter Hashem, Kenny Road. Question I have is, everybody knows the town of Berwick has a real problem with the water. Okay, it comes out of the Salmon Falls River, correct?
Yeah.
Been doing this for years. So, is this gonna solve the problem for all the people in town that have this problem constantly? Seems like year after year, there's something going wrong where they gotta get bottled water or whatever. It don't go directly to me because I got my own well water. But I know people in town that, been putting up with this for a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
That's one
So
reason why we
the
have.
question is this gonna
This is-
solve their problem?
Piece
This
of the
is
puzzle.
going to have
This is two separate issues.
Yeah, the issue that we've had with the water in town has been mostly due to drought during the summer months, higher levels of manganese. The plant upgrades that have already been planned and paid for and got money for and everything like that, those are going to address those issues. Those issues are already, we're doing plant upgrades into this year and into 2024. They're hopefully going to be finished by winter 2024. So basically, we're building like half a new plant, basically.
Well, you did
And-
upgrades before,
This is
and they haven't seemed to do the trick.
This is
for the people.
Not. This is a completely different. This is a.
How many
massive
times have we
upgrade.
heard that story? It's a different story. The question,
So
I have
in
to
terms of
believe
the
it to see it.
In terms of this, this won't affect that one way or the other. This is just about the operation of the plant.
Well, it should reflect that. We don't want to see brown water, right?
No, of course.
You're going to help us out with that? Main water?
So
Yeah,
what
go ahead.
are they actually going to do then?
Well,
They're going to
gotta run the
operate the
plant.
water plant. We still have to say if we approve this contract,
So you're
We're gonna have
telling
the
me
same-
that the town can't operate the plant itself efficiently?
We
We don't have the employees.
We've been having
Can't
trouble
find
keeping
number
it
4,
staffed.
So you're paying them $22,000 a month.
Yeah, we're spending more than that anyway. We're spending more than $22,000 a month to town.
Yeah.
So we're actually saving money by going to Maine Water.
If
And
you
the
put
other
one
thing-
more employee in there,
We're also doing, we're saving 20 grand a year on it. What anything else I don't know about. It's a savings from what the town's paying.
If I may, is a little bit of history. Mark and I have been dealing this for almost 9 years since we've
I
been
agree
on the
with you.
board. Is the problem has been over the years is the plant before wasn't operating efficiently. There was regular maintenance that wasn't being done properly. There were other things that could have been being done there that weren't being done there. And that led to some of the turnover that we've had recently with the personnel at the plant, trying to change things and get things working again. As far as the water quality is 3 years ago, we started the process of looking for money to upgrade the plant. Is Summersworth gets their water from the river also. They use a slightly different system to filter their water and treat their water. And what we're looking to do is to upgrade ours so we have a similar system. So that hopefully will take care of that problem. What Maine Water does is they have the daily operational, make sure that the chemicals are put in properly, make sure that the plant is run properly, so
Send out the
we're going to
bills.
give them, they have to work with the existing plant now.
Yeah.
We're scheduled to start construction on the new part of the plant this year and have that finished in the fall or winter of 2024. And at that time, hopefully that should take care of all the problems we've been having with that brown water. The contract we're looking at with them would run until that time. And at that time, it will be up to the town again whether we renew their contract or we take it all back in ourselves and hire our own personnel again.
Right.
But like everything else over the last several years with the pandemic and everything, is finding good help is hard to find.
but you're getting water out of the Salmon Falls River. And that river is nowhere near being clean.
No.
Okay, the
that's
water
why
is-
we need an upgraded plant.
So,
but you're
but
exactly
isn't there
right. We
any
had
other
test
source
borings
of
done,
water you
last
can
year?
get?
Yeah.
We had test borings done around town.
Yeah, but is there any other source? Like, you can't do a
That's
well?
what
We just,
You
I'm
can't do
just
it?
telling you, we had
Oh.
test borings done to try to find well water, and we couldn't find any.
Well, we found water. We couldn't find enough that would produce.
Yeah, it's
we
not
couldn't
enough
find a
water.
well that could produce enough volume that the town needed.
400 gallons a minute.
Yeah.
Well, tap into South Berwick. They got more than they can use.
Then you got to pipe it all the way down here, so there's a huge expense on.
Is the
$1 million
cost
a
of
mile?
$1 million
$1
a mile to run the pipe, we were told. And
South
that was,
Berwick has excellent water.
They
and
do.
They have wells.
Yep.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Who else?
Please.
Hi, Jamie Blood. I own Corner Point Brewing,
Yes.
so water's a little
Important.
slightly. Just a real quick question: with Maine Water if they're going to take over, with a fully staffed water department, are there any upgrades or any changes we'll see this year? Improvements, say, like with an actual fully staffed.
I would say the changes are probably going to be slight. I mean, I mean, this year was bad for a number of reasons, but mostly because it was a huge drought this year, and that was
Yep.
real bad. We're hoping we can skate through 2023, 2024 without a major drought like that one. But if it's just as bad this year as it was last year, then there's not going to be much different that they're going to be able to do.
Well, I think we should address that to Maine Water. So ask that question to Maine Water.
Yeah.
He's the one that's going to be running it.
Please.
What's the story?
Step right up. Sure.
Yeah. So, and as it's a good question, and as the select board highlighted, they're working with Wright Pierce Engineering, who and working with a project manager named Dan Flagg, who we've worked with on several projects across the state, and what they're specifically working on. Or what their specific challenge in that facility is filtration for manganese. So that is a surface water plant and it's a filter plant. It's designed to filter. But in the drought, when the water is low and the iron and manganese levels rise, those filters are unable to perform the way they should. So what Wright Pierce is currently working on, and we've had a chance to talk to Wright Pierce as well, is a pre-filtration project. So to get rid of the majority of that iron and manganese before it hits the current plant. Are there ways that our operators can optimize the current facility once we have our eyes on it? Very possible, but we can't stand here and promise that, because we need to get in and thoroughly learn how to run the facility, and we have the operators to do that. In speaking to Wright Pierce, they have a high level of confidence that they'll be able to address the issue. So I think whatever optimization that we can do this year, hopefully we don't have a drought. And then to get this project online, that is something that we also know how to do. We know how to work with a consulting engineer to see a project through. But as far as promising that there's not going to be a water quality issue in town before that project is complete, I don't think we can do that. But we can optimize it, really the best that we can.
Right, you'll be more on the ball than we are.
Well,
Sure.
And
they'll be on the ball as much as they can.
Yeah, and to the staffing front, there's a very specific rule from the state of Maine, and it comes from the EPA, where the water regulations come from. It's filtered down through the Maine Drinking Water Program, and the facility that you run is given a class of treatment. This one is a class 4, and at any point, if you don't have a class 4 operator running the facility, you're in violation. You're in violation of the rules. You don't have assurance that the water going out the door is safe to drink. And that was the concern of the drinking water program. And that's the challenge for any water system is having class 4 operators, class 3 operators, whatever you need to do. I think that's the solution that we bring and we're happy to bring. And it is a challenge there. It's harder to find operators than it's ever been before.
That's the thing. As you spoke here from Corner Point, we don't want to have bad water for you. Then all these people are going to move in next door. We don't want that to happen next door. We want to encourage people to come in. That's one of the reasons why we have the Maine Water here. That's what they do. What do we know? Really, we don't know anything.
And finding the licensed operators is getting more and more difficult.
It's terrible.
I'd like to address the question about rate increases also. As a public utility, the water department and the sewer department also have to go through the Public Utilities Commission in order to get rate increases. And we went through that process several years ago. They okayed an increase at that time. The same thing, we had public hearings. We went through the process, and they broke it down into 2 separate years so that it wouldn't all hit at once. And the second part of it is hitting this July 1st, correct? So that rate has already been increased. It's already in the pipeline. It has nothing to do with what's going on right now. Any further increase down the line, again, would have to come to a public hearing again. The Public Utilities Commission would be involved and would go through that process again.
But that would be left up to Maine Water to tell us that they need a rate increase.
Right.
Well, no, because
that's not even-
no,
that's the
because
town.
That's the town.
That's
the way
that's us.
I know, we'd
essentially
have to go
the
all
way
up
this
to that,
is
but
going to
they're gonna be the
work
ones saying we need a rate increase.
is that they are collecting the fees that we set. We set the price. They're going to collect them, and they're going to give it to us. We're writing them a check for their work. If we decide that there's some sort of imbalance that needs to be corrected, then that's when we come into play. As long as we're paying them, they're not going to care. They're not going to care if the rate is low or high or mid or what.
They have a contract.
Well, I would
They
hope
have
they
a
would
con-
pay attention to that rate, Noah, because let me tell you something. They're not going to be dropping the price. We got to keep rates that are affordable,
Right.
and they're going to make us be able to put money into the water system in this damn town.
I agree.
So
But we're going to still.
they're
get
going to be
charged.
telling us, I hope, that look, we need to spend some money. We need to get a rate increase, and that after that we take off.
Yeah,
I would hope you would.
Yeah, Mark, and that's what we had talked about 2 weeks ago was the financial services piece that as we're in the transition in our financial controller, we weren't comfortable putting in the contract. We think we'd be prepared to do in a year. So for some of our other operational contracts, we also do we do the monthly books, but we also walk the municipality through some forecasting and what to expect and understanding, which this group already does, but understanding the implications of your capital investments and rising chemical prices and labor and what that means to water rates. So what we'll do in the first year, Mark, is as we see opportunities for improvement, letting you know what the risks are and what the prices are, and informing the town. As we agreed to in revising the agreement, meeting with the select board twice a year to give an update on the system. In the financial service piece that we would love to offer, once we get our feet back under us and fully staffed, we could also offer some of the budgeting and forecasting.
I've been fortunate. I don't have town water, but I do feel your problem. Well, even if there was no problem with the water system, I still like my well water.
But the thing is, we have new people that want to move into town on the edge, and we've got to make sure that we have.
Not even that. It's serving the people that are already here.
Yeah, both of them.
And unfortunately, the plant is showing its age, and the processes don't work like they should anymore, and people expect more, which they should. So I think this is moving in the right direction. I think this will help, and I'm hoping that, especially once we get the new part of the plan up and running, that I won't be hearing about this anymore.
Yeah.
I might not be here.
Yeah, I think we're going to see an improvement right off of them. Are you ladies on town water?
I am.
Is that why you're here?
I want to know where, if you had found a new source.
No,
we tried. We drilled all over town.
Yeah.
The problem had been is, as Mark said, is close to the plant. We couldn't find a source, with enough, to deliver. And
Can't you do multiple wells?
Like
well on each end of town?
It's still
we couldn't find one anywhere.
The problem again comes down
spent $1 million.
to having to pipe it to the plant.
Right.
And at $1 million a mile is what we were quoted as a price several years ago, which now probably $1.5 million, the way everything else has gone up. Is even if you just go a couple miles out of town, is your piping is going to cost as much as your plant is. So,
but if you have ideas in different ways we might be able to go about it, come to the meeting and talk to us. You know what I mean? If you got a place you think you make a great well, we'd love to know it.
Because we know there's water over on the South Berwick side. We know there's water up behind the old high school up at
There's water up by the sod farm.
But again, it comes to cost effectiveness.
Right.
Yeah, I basically at a certain point it comes to we have to build a whole new water plant wherever the well would be. And if we're going to build a whole new water plant, might as well upgrade the current water plant for the same price. And, you know. So, if there's no further comment, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we enter into a contract with Maine Water Company as presented to us.
I'll second it.
Any further comments? All those in favor? All right. I will close this public hearing.
Let's get that paperwork and sign it. Get it off our backs.
I'll get it to you.
Yeah.
Well,
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you.
And contrary to popular belief, we encourage people to come to our meeting.
Yes, we want people to come to the
Come
meeting.
anytime.
Thank you, thank you. Nope, you stay up, you still plenty to go.
yes. Okay. Yep.
All right, next, we have the reports of committees. We have none.
Weird, you get a separate bill.
Department reports, we have none.
Safe
Appointments
travels.
and presentations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Josh Jones, Recreation Director.
Good evening.
Hi, Josh.
Hello.
So glad to finally meet you.
You as well. I thought I met you the other day via email. I got a funny story for you about that one.
All right, so Josh has
Josh, let you remain. Got it.
been set to be our new Recreation Director. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I can start just through the recreation director search. We had about 25 applicants, and I think there's a pretty clear consensus from the rec director search committee that Josh stood right out. He's certified, comes with years of director experience, and just thrilled to have him in town. He's up on the second floor with Jody and I, and he's already been a great fit and already working on a host of projects. So just happy to have you in town.
Thank you. Yeah, I showed up here on December 20th from Northwest Colorado. 2 cars, 2 dogs, 2 kids, 2,400-mile drive.
Why would you move from Colorado to Berwick, Maine?
I knew that was coming because of the opportunity and then the school district. Opportunity and school district on top of each other.
You like the school district here? You research it for your kids?
Here, yeah.
It was different in Colorado.
Yeah, so we had a K through 12 school with 430 kids total. I live in
K
a
through 12?
Yeah, they just
Wow.
built a brand new $63 million school K through 12.
Huh.
And you would think that with that would come high-end school administration, and in our opinion, it did not.
I'm glad you checked it out.
It was
That's good.
like a brand new school?
Brand new
Yeah, that's
from the ground up.
that's always the rough
12
time.
in one school.
Yeah, brand new schools. That's always a gamble. Sometimes there's a lot of growing pains, when they first start out.
So this opportunity came. We wanted to give our kids better opportunities. Athletics, academics, socializing, more people. We lived in a town of 2,000 people. No stops, no stoplights, no restaurants. You'd get your food from the gas station. You'd have to go 30 minutes east or west. We were right next to Steamboat, big tourist town. So we're familiar with that when that happens here. But you got to the point where you just didn't want to go to Steamboat. So
And you're planning this on being a long-term
Yeah.
job?
Yes, sir.
Just
Yep.
don't want to have.
Yeah, I've never been to this region, so I've got probably a lifetime of exploring to do.
Okay.
There's plenty
We'd
around.
like to keep you around for a few years.
Yeah,
James
and
said
that-
that you came from Alabama originally?
So that's where I spent 30 years until 2017. Just uprooted the family. In less than a month, my wife interviewed for a job on July 2nd. She accepted the job on July 5th. We arrived on August 17th.
And what year was that?
17.
In Colorado.
Yeah, took them 5 years to say, yeah, this is not it.
We loved the small town lifestyle, and then it started to change. The pandemic really changed it.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
And the lack of opportunity, I would think, too, it being such a small.
Yeah, we had the closest Target was 3.5 hours away. I'm just speaking for my wife right now.
Colorado's got a lot of pot places too.
It does.
Shops.
Yep.
You're in good shape here.
We only had one.
We got plenty. You got Plenty.
It's a green state. Steamboat had several. Our town finally agreed to putting one in on the west side of town.
Huh.
So and then Craig, which was even further west. I think they had 3 or 4.
How far out of Denver are you? What's the
4
time?
hours
4 hours into where, west?
east.
East? Into the mountains then, right?
Yeah, so you go through the mountains, you go
Yeah.
up Eisenhower Pass, and
Yeah.
that's up at about 11,000 feet. So you don't really want to travel that 6 months out of the year.
No. I was out there a couple of years ago during the wildfires up there.
Yeah.
Taking a look at it.
We had a nice summer this last summer, no fires.
Yeah, we bought before
Had a
that.
couple 100,000 acres burned the
Yeah.
summer before.
Yeah.
So coming to Berwick is, the opportunities for your family and everything. What are the opportunities you see for the recreation department?
I see the field, the Memorial Park, the potential for that park with the money that's going to get spent there, the upgrades that are going to happen there. I see that kind of, I keep calling it the golden nugget for the town, but I see that open green space recreationally with some upgrades to the turf to be a long-term benefit
Yeah.
to the town, especially with the playground, the basketball,
Yeah.
the pickleball, tennis, batting cages. There's work to be done there for sure.
And besides the work at Memorial Park, what do you envision for other activities that the recreation can offer?
So-
not just to the young people, particularly in the organized sports, but other things for everybody else in town, rather than just the kids in the organized sports.
That's something that I've got to dive into. I've really been, in my 6 days that I've been here, I've been focusing on what we do. So I haven't really had a lot of time to change my direction to look at something new. So I'm focusing on this last couple of weeks on what's next, which would be Easter, and then what's next after that is the big animal of summer camp. And then the turf management, which is the feasibility report that I've been spending a lot of time in for the turf at the park. So I don't
It's a
have.
good week-long read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a tough
Yeah.
read, yeah. So to follow up with that, how much experience do you have with running a summer? Because we have a pretty robust summer camp here. that we do in
That's one thing
combination with
that's.
South Berwick.
I was a one-man show in Hayden, so I've done all the organizing of the youth program. So the ages that we deal with here in this program are the same ages that I dealt with there. So registrations, we didn't have a summer camp, so I'm not going to lie to you there. I've never organized a summer camp. We just didn't have one.
Yep.
So that's something that I'm jumping in feet first.
Did you go to school for this?
I went to school for sports and fitness management,
Yep, yep.
Yep.
and then
Well, I think the good thing here is, I think there's a, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't there?
Shannon's still running the summer camp, too.
Right,
so that's
running the
also-
summer camp, but isn't there also like a committee that's been doing different activities for the last couple of years?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the rec,
there's
had
a
the
rec
rec committee meeting last
Right,
night.
so you have a good support team to help you.
I
It
do.
won't be a one-man show.
Right. Yeah, this is. I've never had this kind of help. I mean, we had a Parks and Recreation board, was also all volunteers, but I never had a Shannon, and never had people that have been in the board for the time that some of these people on the commission have been in.
And you calling the sports field a golden nugget, that's just music to my ears.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really good to hear that you think it's something.
Yeah, I really want that grass to grow and
Oh, yeah.
support
Well, that's
those
good.
kids, and I want the grass to beat the cleats. That's my goal.
Well, we're also hoping to have, expand it, Tom brought it up or touched on it a little bit, it is a golden nugget, but not only for just the kids and the athletes, but we're hoping for maybe some walking paths for some of our seniors
Right.
as well.
Yep.
And give them an opportunity to also use that resource.
Hmm.
I'm just thinking about that. There's so much work that's going to be done on that,
We
that
just
field over the next
whirlwind
couple
it.
of years. Just like there's just so much going to be going on.
Yep.
And so you feel up to the challenge?
I do. I had a 6-acre open space. We had multi-purpose fields that I managed, 400 plus sprinklers, irrigation system that we pumped out of a pond. So luckily that water wasn't charged to the town. We had water rights, which is a huge.
Do you understand irrigation systems yourself?
Yes and no. I had a park supervisor who was the guy that got the fingers dirty.
Was it a Hunter system?
It was a.
Rainbird?
We did Hunter sprinklers, sprinkler heads,
Graybird.
Gosh, the
Buck.
box is gray and purple. I can see it. I'm sorry, I'm just losing
That's
it.
Hunter. The box would be, if it's Gray's box, that's a Hunter box.
Gray and purple on the box, so it was a Hunter system. It did have a remote control to it, but that was difficult because we'd be half a mile away when we'd have to turn it on.
Right.
So we didn't have it on our phones. We were
Go over there and set the
we were
clock.
in the process of upgrading to Smart Rain,
Yeah.
but that park had too many sprinklers to be able to handle the current system that they had.
We're not in bad shape over there for irrigation, are we?
It sounds like there was a pretty significant upgrade.
Yeah.
I actually have a call with Ian tomorrow.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of questions for him.
Yep.
Who is it?
Ian Lacey,
Yeah.
Who's he?
The guy with
The guy who's doing all that.
turf farm,
The-
the
Tom-
feasibility study with us.
Tom Irwin.
He's he's one with the British accent, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. He'll
That's
talk
how
to
you
you. He'll
use it
talk
in
to you
summer
plenty.
rain?
He'll talk to you plenty.
He was in the UK when I called him on Monday.
That's what we use for the irrigation, is summer rain.
Smart Rain. Smart Water?
No, James, you're signing the checks. Who is it?
I'd have to get back to you on that one. I don't know off the top of my head. I know, sorry.
How come it's here?
Oh,
So I got an email from you.
Really?
Yeah, on Thursday of last week.
Yeah, so did I.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
It said, I need to speak to you. I need you to handle something discreetly.
Oh, I know. You got those. We get those from Tom all the time.
so I used to be the chair, so they always used to come from me for some reason. And so I don't send emails.
I didn't know you from Adam's House Cat. So I'm sneaking around going, does anybody know a guy named Noah?
That's insane. I've been getting those emails from him for 6 years. Where it's like, hey, I need your help with something. And then the first time I got one, I was like, what do you need?
Yep.
And it's like, I need you to go and buy like $200 worth of gift cards. And I'm like, this
Change
does
my
not
direct
sound
deposit.
like something that Tom would send to me.
So I let him read it. And he's like, there's no way that through email.
No, definitely not. There's probably like,
I
it's
get
probably
it from
like,
Tom
it's
all
probably
the time.
my
I have
email
a
address,
Tom
but
all
with like a
the
zero instead of
Tom's
an
probably
O
the
and
most.
something, you know?
Yeah, it comes once a month.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So no, that is no. That's funny.
I think it was Lisa Vargas who got one supposedly from me saying I needed a check for like $1,200.
Yeah.
Don't tell anybody.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
I need you to buy a bunch of gift cards, but
Yeah.
don't tell nobody
That's exactly
about
what it
it.
was.
Yeah, sure.
How many people do
This,
we have on the summer rec thing?
For attendance,
Yeah.
I think we were talking about it was 40.
40?
40 kids.
62.
That's it?
62?
57 to
60?
62 because I want to say that the revenue generated was about 62,000.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was roughly $925 to $1,025 for the
Per
fees.
student, per
60,
person?
yeah.
Yeah, it's about $1,000 per kid to go through, depending.
Is that good?
for
You
a
think
whole
that's
summer.
good?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
And not knowing the region and only being here for 6, I think it's high. I think it's a high
Honestly,
fee.
it's not really.
welcome to
I
the
mean, when I went to summer camp when I was a kid, it was like $250 a week, and that was a full 6 days,
But was that
night and
community
day.
rec?
But that's
Right, that's staying in cabins.
They're
But
too,
we're
gonna
right?
talking-
ship-
how old
they're
are you
gonna
guys?
ship you
12 and
up.
7.
Yeah,
We're
because
talking
some
like-
private
So you
camps.
guys
talking
go
like
to
6
a
week-
weekly camp that they're interested
there was a
in.
camp
Yeah.
$500
across the
for.
lake.
Okay.
from us. They charged
So that is what it
$3,000
is.
for 2 weeks.
That's
We
a-
call
that's
that
a
rich
fun
kid
age, though.
camp. That's
Okay,
what-
so it is what pretty
Yeah,
normal.
it's
So-
that's yeah.
my only problem, and my wife's problem as well, is just like with the summer camp program is like we do things during the summer. But we would like our daughter to do like a week of summer camp, but there really wasn't an option for that. It's kind of an all or nothing situation.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't expect you to make major changes in this first year, trying to get your head around it and get it off its feet and everything like that. But like that's the only complaint that I have with the summer camp situation is like, but beyond that, there's lots of kids. They all have a great time. It's a lot of stress, especially for their director.
Mm-hmm.
So you can more than welcome to contact our previous directors and talk to them about it. I'm sure they'd love to fill you in on the
But
on
there's
the
a lot
stress.
There's a lot of positivity. I mean,
Oh, it's-
I send my granddaughter to the camp here the last couple of years, and it's phenomenal between what they do back and forth, the staff that she's hired, which are, I think they're teenagers or whatnot, that help
College
with
kids, a lot of
college
times.
kids, yeah.
Yep.
But just, and being, 5 and 6, it's just, they do a good combination of things that are right there to athletic, to, bringing people in for puppet shows, things like that. So it's pretty well-rounded. And then if your kid can't go because you're going to do a family trip that week, you can work something out that way. But I've always heard very positive things from people who sent their kids there, that it is a really good camp. It's run well, and the counselors have been really excellent. So I think you're coming off on something that is on solid footing.
I will
Which
try
is
not to
good to
booger
walk
it up.
into. Yeah.
Any further questions?
Any questions for us? What is your expectation of the board?
That's to be determined. I don't know. I've got a meeting with Mike. We'll probably.
Oh, I got a whole bunch of stuff for you. Don't worry.
Yeah. I think that'll be a valuable meeting to see what the expectations are and what sort of support I get.
Well, we will support you as much as we possibly can.
Right.
Because, that's our job, and that's, we want to make sure that you're successful so that the town is successful. Last year, we spent a lot of time doing our best to support the rec director against, I should say, not spurious, but, unnecessary criticism that she was getting at the time for doing as much as she possibly could, but for, in some people's eyes, not doing enough.
Fast enough.
And but yeah, it's one of those things where it's like when it's running smooth, we don't hear from you very much. You won't hear from us very much. It's when we start having hit those road bumps that we have to start getting back together again and iron them out. So
The town, I think, as a whole, even before Mike and I got here, as a whole, the town has always been very supportive of community recreation. So if you've got new ideas or things like that, please don't hesitate to bring it to the board.
Correct.
Because the board itself has been very supportive of the rec department here in Berwick.
Every meeting we have a spot for reports of committees and departments. You're welcome to show up every 2 weeks and give us a report if you want to, or once a month, or once every 3 months.
I think you're supposed to go through James first, though, right? For stuff, isn't James you got the other?
Well, I mean, he reports
James
directly
come
to
to
James.
us.
James is direct
Yeah.
report.
He needs to get on the agenda.
Yeah, I mean,
Get on the agenda and all that
but
stuff.
in any case, we would love to hear from you as often as you like, and the town really does support rec as much a lot. A lot of people are highly invested in it. Some would say too invested sometimes, but and we did a study years ago. I think it was we either did it under Envision or James did it, and one of the questions was about rec, and people were very supportive of more rec. They wanted more programs. They wanted more interaction through the town, through the recreation department. And sadly we haven't been able to do as much as we want because, we
Money.
pay for it. We still got to pay for it at the end of the day. But we definitely want a strong rec program, and we'll support it in every way we can.
And talk about support is the next group following you in tonight's agenda, the Envision Berwick. I don't know if you've dealt with them directly yet, or
Dealt with them.
yeah,
What are we talking about here?
I have met them.
They have been very supportive of everything the recreation department has done. And all the time that the Envision Berwick's been going forward, that's been one of the things they've been working is tying in all those activities together, so that you'll be getting a lot of support on that side too.
And I know you're upstairs with Jody, and I know Jody's very supportive of rec, Parks and Rec that way, and trying to be involved that way, and he'll be a good right-hand person to lean on too. So,
And if you need something facilities-wise,
Yeah.
make
He's
sure
your guy.
make sure you let him know, and I'm sure he'll find a way to help you.
Very good.
Yep.
Any other comments or questions?
Welcome aboard.
I would entertain a motion then. Because we have to actually appoint them.
Oh, I make a motion that we appoint Josh. What's Josh's last name?
Jones.
Right, remember that. Josh Jones to the position of rec director for the town of Berwick.
second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Welcome aboard.
Thank you all for the opportunity.
Our condolences.
Heard that before.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Welcome to Berwick.
Yes.
I'll see you in the
Welcome
morning.
to town. All right. Well, next we have the appointment of basically the entire Envision Berwick crew.
Well, not the entire, there's about 14 of them.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I think Cyrus is going to come in and see you.
Well,
That's fine.
we have Jeremy Caston. Who's that? No, Marie Miller, Elise Weeks, and Cyrus Morgan. So,
They're all reappointments.
yes. These are all re-ups.
For 2 years.
So,
Is there anything you guys want to say before?
yeah, exactly.
Well, they gave a presentation.
We got plenty to say coming up, so I don't want to take up any time other than to say I think I speak for all of us that we truly love what we do and what we say.
Microphone.
These guys. Now it feels like I'm starting the presentation.
That's good.
Everybody
You
who's
just
involved
gotta
in
stand right back up
Envision
Yeah.
loves it, and that's an amazing thing to have a group of people who are all, we've all met doing this, right? And we've formed friendships and bonds, but most importantly, we're really proud of the mountains. I mean, obviously, you guys did this before us, so we're continuing in to blaze trails here, and it's cool because, you guys saw how big bringing lawn chairs to Sullivan Square was. It was a big to do, and at one point we looked around, and I think there were 6 of us standing together, and we went, "Wow, the 6 of us basically did this." I mean, we got a lot of funding from sponsorship, but in the end of the day, it's a couple people can move mountains, and that is one of the things that I think we all find really satisfying. If I could speak to the group, how do you do?
Nailed it.
Marie? Okay.
Do we need to do an individual or can we do a block?
You can
Yeah,
do
and
it
I
live.
know Cyrus isn't here, but I mean, the work that he's put into the group too. I mean, I have no
Yeah.
problems
No kidding.
moving forward with that as well. So,
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to appoint Jeremy Castor, Marie Miller, Elise Weeks, and Cyrus Morgan to 2-year terms to Vision Berwick Committee.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion?
I just want to make a comment it's funny because Nicole Fecto put a post out this morning about 9 years ago. We were sitting around talking about what to do, and here we are. And it is amazing.
Oh,
I remember those 9 years ago, and everybody else was saying about that group is, it's just another one of those groups that's going to come and go. But is that initial group? They got things going. I have to credit Frank Underwood and Pat and Paul Bovair. Jessica and
Jessica,
Serena.
Yeah.
Is those type of people that were there in the beginning. But the thing I've seen with the Envision Berwick and being involved off and on peripherally over these years is that there's always somebody new willing to step
Yeah,
forward
I think that's really good.
and
It's really
take it on.
Yeah.
And the thing that impressed me,
Paid, right?
the thing that has really impressed me is, it's been a younger generation that I'm used to, and most of them are people that chose to move to Berwick for a reason. They weren't born here. They didn't come here because something required them. They came here because they wanted to come here, and that's the thing I see with the Envision Berwick is that they want to make the town that much better, and I have no problem supporting everything you guys have been doing.
And preserve the reasons that we loved it to begin with.
Right.
Right? Make it better, but not come in and change everything. There's a reason that you don't pick Berwick, Maine because you wish you lived in Reno. You know what I mean?
no,
Or Hayden, Colorado, we just said.
exactly. And just to second that or piggyback on that, and I know I've been bad at popping in meetings lately, but every time I've popped into an Envision Berwick meeting or seen you guys out on the ground, it's that passion and that energy, and it's every idea. It's like it's exciting or new, and no matter how tired you guys are getting from working through it to get Launchers Sullivan Square up, and seeing the volunteer work, we know that it's got to be physically and mentally draining, and you guys never show it. There's always that passion, that energy that's there that just brings the town together, and it's a huge blessing to see from from this end of it or from being in town or seeing my kids go through it, and really thank you to all you guys and what you do all the time. So.
More to come.
And I promise I'll get back in the meeting soon.
It has been moved and seconded. All those in favor? All right. That's
Thank you
4
all.
reappointments. Now, Berwick's brand rollout progress report from Envision Berwick.
So who's
Who's
speaking?
doing that?
Oh, those Envision Berwick people again, jeez.
Supplementary to that, I just want your enthusiasm is always so refreshing.
Oh, thank you.
It's so you're always enthusiastic about the work that you're doing, and it is just amazing.
Well, it's not my day job. I'm not always enthusiastic about my day job.
Thanks,
I try to be, but you know. Hi.
Hi.
Am I on this side? Stay on the great side.
Yeah, I need to.
Good deal.
I'm just.
Hi
showing
guys. So we have we've been working toward.
Hold on, I gotta join.
Yeah. Oh, join.
All right. I don't want to join the computer audio, right?
I don't think so.
No audio, no mic.
Make sure sound is off.
That's what she just
Yeah.
said. Yes.
I just
You
muted
know,
you. Is that
correct.
okay?
Yes.
Otherwise, it gets sound really strange.
Oh, that weird echo. Oh, she might even get the feedback.
Yeah, you should be able to share your screen.
Could just have Marie do it.
Sorry, guys.
Almost there.
No problem.
When do I get business cards?
Sorry.
I'm
Sure, you can ask Patty.
I'm joking.
I'm sure Patty
I
can
have
do
my
it.
business cards.
And I have enough that I don't need different ones.
I've had business cards for like 13 years at this point. I first made my own. I was just like, sales associate, but whatever, So
Well, if you want to intro
Do you want me to start
yourself.
with the intro? Okay, so while Elise is dialing us in, I will start by introing myself, which I feel like I've done for all of you at one point or another, but just to set the table again, as you said, Tom, I'm not from Berwick and very much intentionally moved here with my family almost 7 years ago. I left a life in Los Angeles where I worked in entertainment and made TV and movies and sat in my car for 3 hours every day and paid other people to pick my kids up and take them to daycare and I was miserable. And I wanted to farm. I wanted to homestead at least and raise food for my family and raise children who aren't stuck on tablets and climb trees and walk in chicken shit, pardon me, chicken poo. So we moved to Maine to learn to homestead in Harpswell, Maine, where we lived for a year. And learned to split wood and kill chickens and all this stuff. And fell in love with our farm in Berwick and fell in love with Berwick. Came back for 9 months and wooed Nancy Fulton into selling me that farm, which is where I live with my family. And we are slowly renovating that almost 200-year-old property. So it's a big lift. I'm now working back in TV because of the pandemic. My background in Los Angeles was very focused on marketing for movies. So I marketed big studio movies while I made my passion projects. All of this to set the table to say, when I came to Envision Berwick to initially to set up Bring Your Lawn Chairs to Sullivan Square, when it didn't have a name, and it was an idea that Ruth Blue had, I knew that I could bring my energy and my enthusiasm, but also a certain amount of expertise to Envision Berwick, in addition to what else had already been happening. So Elise and I became friends through Envision Berwick, and now I'll let her give her intro.
Yeah. Hi,
I set
everyone.
myself
I
up.
think I've met pretty much all of you, but just in case not, I'm Elise Weeks. I live here in Berwick. I run a graphic design shop called Pixels and Pulp, which I've owned since I co-founded that with my business partner in 2008, but I've been doing graphic design for about 20 years. And like we've been talking about, I'm not from here, but I chose Berwick when we bought our house here in 2011. And we love it here. We wanted to put down roots here because of the schools, because of the land, because of what's going on here, the kind of distance we've got. We're near the mountains, we're near the ocean, where you can get to cities pretty quickly. So we just, when I was shopping for my home, when we found the house that we were going to live in, it's on this amazing, we're kind of butted up against a 75-acre piece of land, and we have this crazy view, and it was not something I thought would be possible. So it was amazing to first come to Berwick and realize that, like, my first home purchase ever was in this amazing place. And since becoming involved with Envision Berwick, it's just, yeah, I've made incredible friends, and we've since had a daughter, and we've just really enjoyed our time here, and it's been amazing. So, yeah, but for my professional life as a graphic designer, we kind of do all different aspects of branding. We do branding, we do website design, print, a little packaging, we do print design, things like that. We have clients locally. We've done work for Mr. Fox, UNH. We have kind of higher ed clients. We work with nonprofits. We work with organizations that kind of do social justice, environmental, things like that. So we're really just kind of passionate about working with organizations and nonprofits, towns that are kind of just working to make the world a better place. So, yeah, that's kind of why we're here. We love Berwick, obviously, but we really wanted to kind of come in here and actually it was Serena who was really sort of like the catalyst for bringing me in. I think we met previously through, I think I did a talk in Somersworth about branding actually, and I think she, over the course of meeting us and seeing our skills, thought we could kind of come and bring those to apply to Berwick and help improve the town here. Specifically, originally was for a community engagement project, but also, maybe helping with the branding, economic development, all of that kind of stuff. So just to do like a quick recap, and I apologize, I'm using my paper notes here just because the way we've got this set up, so I'll be referencing those a little bit because we do have a lot to cover tonight, and we'll try and get us out of here as quickly as possible. But just to do a quick recap of what is branding. So a lot of times people sort of think, oh, it's our logo, but it's a lot more than that. It's sort of like the way we're perceived by the people who experience it, whether it's a product, whether it's a company, an individual, a town. So there's a lot of different sort of expressions of that brand, the logo being one of them. It's our, the typefaces we use, the colors we use, our signage, our town website, the graphics on our town vehicles. It's how we talk about ourselves. It's the experiences we have. So our summer concerts, that's a piece of our brand. It's, when people come to town hall and they engage with folks, that's all part of our brand.
I also want to say something about that. I think the term brand has it sounds so like, it's weird to talk about our town that's like, charming. Like that's the whole thing about Berwick, right? That's why we moved here, to talk about it in this way, is that where you say a brand. It sounds kind of gross. But actually, what's important, and this is why I said preserving what we love about it, what's important for Envision Berwick and for us in talking about Berwick and talking about it in these terms is to retain, right? It's not to change. It's not to come in and say we're going to change everything. It's to be like, here's what's great. So if you look at the signs, I know this is slightly tangential, but if you look at the signs and the way they look, the new signs, right? The new with the Berwick and Maine, and it looks like a postcard or whatever. Yeah. The function of it is to be like, this is you have a sense of place. It feels authentic, and it isn't like, it doesn't look like a sign for Reno, right? It looks like a sign for Berwick. That's what good branding is. So I just wanted to
that's a good segue, just because we're very passionate about this stuff. We feel that this is very important. Having a cohesive system is important because it just sort of elevates the perception of our town and the experiences that people have here, and that it shows that we care. So we want it to be a reflection of who we are and who we aspire to be. Berwick is in an incredible moment right now with everything that's happening at the edge. We just have this downtown that's sort of it's starting to come up, and it's already starting to happen. I think we're putting really good people in place to make stuff happen, but like you were saying, we all are here for a reason. We don't want to just come in guns a-blazing and change everything about it. We want to preserve, we live in a rural community. We love that about it. We don't want it to feel like our light, the sign is like this blinking crazy thing. We have a message board basically on our sign where we go down and we change out the messaging on it, and it just feels really charming and special.
Authentic.
Right. And ultimately, we want this to be a place that people feel pride in and encourage new people to move here, encourage businesses to come here. When they come over the bridge and they see our sign, they think, oh, wow, that's really special. And, from every touch point that they have with our brand, that comes through. So tonight, really what this is just to kind of give a recap of, we've done a lot. We kind of came on board around 2019 to start this process. So this is really like a where we've started, where we are now, and where we're going from here. So this slide right here is basically just to kind of give us a little bit of a little background on where we came from. So, and also to acknowledge like all of this, just kind of the hours and the time and the love that went into all of this. They all have their unique places. But when you look at all of this, so in 2019, this was our website on the left. There's some pictures of our, the signs we used to have. And then a bunch of different logos that are used for the town. And I should say that Berwick didn't really have a logo. So we kind of had a type treatment on our website. We had, a little bit of different treatments on our signage. And then we had our town seal. So we didn't really have a brand at all. And each kind of department within the town kind of feels like its own thing. There's not like a unifying theme kind of connecting everything together. So the first phase of the website, we started with the logo. That was the logical place to start. So this is what we came up with in 2019. So we started with our logo, and then we also have our town emblem, which is on the right, that has our town motto on there, where tradition meets tomorrow. And we preserved our town seal, but we did update the typeface on there to match our new system's font.
It looks cleaner, I think.
It looks more readable.
Goes with the other one because it's got the same.
Yeah, I think the original logo. I mean, it's sort of like a picture, and then photocopied a few times. So the integrity of it kind of
after 50
degraded
years,
a bit.
Like I said, after 50 years, the photocopies
gussied up a little bit.
There's no longer a circle.
Yeah.
So the first few years was really, starting our stationery with the business cards, kind of updating, doing a little bit of a reskin of our website with our town colors, our first few signs. I don't have great pictures of the signs on Routes 9 and 236, but we did those as well.
It's because nobody wants to stop and take those pictures and risk their life.
Right. Yeah, 236. So we did some merch. We did, T-shirts, onesies, hoodies, some stickers. All this was launched. The logo was at the first launch airs that we had in 2019. Another big part of this, which shout out to Marie, major overhaul of our social media presence. So she and I kind of got together. She's a phenomenal photographer and is really great. So we adopted it's called an app called Canva, which many of you have probably already heard of, but basically it's sort of a design app that's a web-based tool. And so we got in there. I developed a bunch of templates that you can see. So for like the car show, for rec, we have the litter cleanup. For voting, for our business profiles.
Farm Animal Friday.
Open Farm Day, historical posts. So basically, the effort here was just to kind of again, when you go to our Instagram or our Facebook and you go through the feed, the quality of the photos is really much improved. But also, we wanted to develop a system of templates so that if you saw a particular post that had type on it, like for the farmer's market or whatever, it all feels like Berwick. Consistent use of color, consistent use of text. Again, it's just kind of all carrying the same theme through everything that we're doing. So the next phase, sort of like 2021, 2022, we really start to build momentum. And just a shout out to Jeremy, because I feel like you've had a lot of incredible ideas and have been able to sort of connect people together to kind of make a lot of this stuff happen. This is one of them. So communication is definitely a thing in town that it's a work in progress. One of the things that we heard when, there were community surveys done in 2013, I think. But this is a thread that I think we're all very familiar with. So something we experimented with was doing a print publication called the Berwick Quarterly, which was essentially like a big town calendar. That also, it was sort of somewhere between like a magazine and a newsletter, kind of ish, sort of, and then the town calendar. But this, incorporated like not just what's happening in the town, but also sort of special features that are very uniquely Berwick. And please jump in on this.
Well, so I want to say because the social media also promoted, was letting people know about stuff that was happening with rec or letting people. But not everybody is on social media, and we heard that a lot. We do have an older population here that doesn't use the internet, and so an attempt to solve that was this every door direct mail piece that 4 times a year could come into people's mailboxes, and it came with its own complications. But I do think that it further, like if a business wanted to move to the edge and was looking at doing a giant build out, being able to say, look, here's Berwick, and have these pieces that we hand out that tie into the look of the website and tie into the business cards, and it all feels like it's part of a system. I think that even though it wasn't affordable to continue to do it, it still is great to have those because they fit in with something that elevates the town in the right direction.
Would it be more affordable to do it like twice a year?
I don't know. I mean, I think that's just another conversation because Tom at the screening at the library, was like, "What can we do to keep this going?" I think that it's a great conversation, and we spend more time out of our week than I probably spend looking for my next gig, talking about this. It's really important to us because it's important to the town. It's important to people. But yeah, let's have a further conversation about that because it's a good question.
Also last year, we kind of developed a few more merch products. We did some new t-shirts, some new knit hats, caps, an enamel mug, which was really exciting, some new stickers. And one of the major improvements was that we were able to move this entire inventory into an online store using a Square point of sale system. So that was huge. And just shout out to our finance department and our town clerks for helping us make that happen because we still have volunteers that help kind of come to town hall and fulfill the inventory so people can pick them up. But this made it possible for us to not only track our orders, we had this really crazy system at the first lawn chairs where we were like analog clipboard checking off inventory. I was like doing math in my head while people were standing there waiting for change. It was very inefficient. But now with this, we can actually have a booth at the farmer's market. So we've done that a couple of times. And at our concerts, we can just people can come up, use their cards, or they can order online, and then we just fulfill them. So that was a really nice.
Are we shipping?
We don't ship. So we have a system now where it's sort of a weekly fulfillment schedule where we kind of alternate volunteers that will come, kind of go through the whole, all the orders for the week, package them up, and then we leave them with the town clerks, and then people can just come in and pick them up.
Yeah, that's good.
It's great.
I want to mention, too, that we sold over $5,000 in 2022 of merch.
Yeah.
And in terms of shout-outs, we should give a shout-out to Devin Dukes, who
Yes.
partners with us on all that apparel, and they actually do all the runs, and then they have been very generous in working with us on this merch.
Yeah, that's been awesome. So just a couple other quick updates from last year. We kept building on the stationery system, so now all the town letterhead matches with business cards. And, there's 3 different variations of this depending on the type of correspondence. So there's sort of just like general correspondence, and then we've got sort of the more official, and then the one from the town manager's office. Just a couple little like sub projects that happened. So last year, some of our big events, Open Farm Day. This, while it's not like, all of the Berwick branding, it's very much in keeping with the Berwick brand. So it feels like us, kind of using some of the typography, some of our colors, and then lawn chairs, same kind of thing. It's got very much its own look and feel, but just like the larger system that we're developing for the town, this one kind of has its own as well. And so every kind of thing that you kind of interact with this event, whether it's the stage, social media, the pole banners, the shirts, everything is its own system. So that's kind of what we've been up to. So over the past year, now we're kind of backing up a little bit and we're thinking about, okay, what's the next step in this process. So to do that, the first piece of this was kind of getting into the weeds on developing, just for our understanding of knowing the full hierarchy of how the town is structured, all the entities that fall within that, the departments, kind of all the levels within that. So we kind of we worked with James to kind of come up with this, so we can look ahead and kind of see where we need to go from here, just to really get organized and have a full understanding of all of those pieces. So the earlier slide that we showed of all the different things, the website, the signage, and all the different kind of logos where there wasn't quite, a unified system here. Our goal is to kind of move towards something like this. Just going to caveat this is not a finished set yet. Some of the things at the bottom here are a little more conceptual, but starting from the top.
Totally conceptual.
These
these are not like ready to go on people's t-shirts yet.
Right.
This is like a pitch document that's saying that there will be a time where there are.
Yes, lots of conversations still have to happen, but basically I wanted to kind of visualize, just so we can kind of wrap our minds around what the goal would be. So at the top, those are our official marks. We have adopted our emblem and our logo, and then beneath that for our rec department, public works, and kind of entities that fall under that, these would all incorporate, kind of a variation of our town emblem, so they kind of all go with the system.
I don't know, can you guys read them from there? The ones on secondary? Okay, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, and
we
can share this PDF around to you afterwards too, if that will be helpful. But eventually, the goal is to kind of, we're all part of the same team here, Team Berwick. So basically, we love to talk with the police department and the fire department and the library and sort of envision Berwick, special committees, special projects, things that kind of warrant their own brand, sub-brand, but have it feel like it's all part of this cohesive. I feel like I sound like a broken record, but I am, because it's very important. Having that consistency, having that kind of unifying system, so that, it has that sort of brand recognition, it has that familiarity. This is actually already in progress. So the Department of Parks and Recreation, they've already adopted their emblem. This is already on their social channels. Over here on the right, so we had talked about earlier, we do offer a lot of times we share what people are already doing. So Marie, as she's doing her social updates, she'll kind of share things in stories on Instagram, but there are sort of key things that we help actually develop the artwork for as they warrant them. So the Easter egg hunt's a big event that Rec does. The townwide litter cleanup. So we kind of help develop the graphics for that. The camp t-shirts, the staff shirts. So those all kind of incorporate the town branding. So this is kind of already up and running. We'll continue to support Rec. Looking forward to meeting with Josh and kind of going over this stuff with him. So he's kind of on board with what's happening already. And then the same with, basically right now, we're working with Public Works in the same capacity. So we actually just delivered the jackets for the folks at the transfer station. So they've got nice new heavy Carhartt jackets for the winter that now have our official town emblem on it. And then we're going to update there's a couple new trucks. So this was a really good time to kind of work all of the town artwork onto the new trucks, and then just make sure that those all follow suit as well. So these are just kind of visuals because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of projects. So this is just sort of a quick little breakdown to show what's already been done. And I just want to note that the text is a little small here to see, but this is all calendar year. It's not Berwick's fiscal year. So this is kind of like what has been accomplished during calendar years. So this past year, Public Works. And then moving forward in this calendar year, it will likely be Envision Berwick, or potentially Berwick for a Lifetime, which is another subcommittee. We're meeting with Sharon Kelly from the library, who's been amazing getting that subcommittee back up and running again. She's already doing wonderful things with that. So likely we'll be working with her on that. Eventually the library and safety and police. So, we want to be really thoughtful about how we time all of this because we are working within specific budgets. We want to be really intentional about what we tackle each year so that we're staying on budget and prioritizing things as it makes sense. For example, this year, or in 2022, we had planned to do the Envision Berwick logo, but because of the truck purchase for Public Works, it made sense to sort of pivot and focus on that and just kind of put that first on the punch list. And same thing with signage. There's a bunch more signs we can do here in town. That we're working on the kayak launch right now, the sign for the transfer station that will be similar to what's downtown. It's such a high traffic area, so we want to do something where, again, we can kind of have like messaging to let people know what's going on. Soccer signups or, farmers market or whatever the kind of thing, pertinent, timely thing is going
Event
on.
of the week.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or when the dump is going to be closed.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Or bring your paint for
Yes.
Specialty.
dangerous chemical day.
Totally. Yeah, so this will follow a plan as well over the next, number of years. So this is what the printout is in front of you. I apologize. This is insane to look at on screen, but really this is just to show kind of a comprehensive view. Everything that's in green has already been done. Things that have a little orange dot next to it, that's in progress right now. We've got a lot on deck for this year, and then again, we just want to kind of map out what we're doing for the next few fiscal years. And so that meeting is happening in 2 weeks. We are already working through all of that. This is not set in stone. We kind of do our best to map all this out based on the budgets that we will pitch a budget that we think that we need for the projects that we have. We can kind of work through all that, but this gives us sort of a good framework so that we're not just kind of willy-nilly doing whatever. Like, we want to break this down by all of the projects that we think, that need to be done, and then we focus on the ones that
Also with intention as to the
Correct.
timeline, and like, for example, the wayfinding sign. In fact, we're obviously going to do a new town hall sign with a wayfinding, kayak launch, 0.2 miles this way, and library 0.6 miles that way, or whatever that, but there's no point in doing that, as we've discussed, until we get some of this dig a hole once stuff taken care of here, because the traffic patterns and things are going to change, so we're holding off on that. That's on the list, but it just doesn't make sense until we come up under that with all the work that's happening around here.
Yeah, this table has changed like 3 times in the past week just because of conversations that we've had and things that we've been having to move around as we learn about things like that. So, that's all very exciting. We've done a lot, but like anything, there are some challenges. It hasn't always been super smooth sailing. Nothing super crazy major, but, communication is definitely, can be a bit of a pain point sometimes. Like you were saying, not everyone in town's on social media. Sometimes even when things are readily available, there's not always the initiative to go find it. Sometimes it feels like things are a bit siloed. There's limited resources. A lot of, financial resources, human resources. People are kind of volunteering part-time to do this outside of their actual jobs. But we feel really proud of all of the work that we've been able to do, given some of the constraints that we have. And this is new. Like, we know that it's hard to do new things.
Yeah.
But we want to help. We are really passionate about this stuff. Because we wouldn't be here if we didn't think this was important. And we probably annoy people sometimes with how much we are like driving these points home. But we want to be supportive as well, because it is new and we don't think everyone, has to understand how all of this stuff works out of the gate. So as we're developing new things, we want to help develop new processes. So if someone does need to order a new sweatshirt or someone does need a new truck vehicle, here's who you need to communicate with. Here's how we need to do that. So we're working on establishing those protocols so that it makes it really clear and easy, so you guys can just stay focused on your own jobs and not have to worry about this stuff. And what logo? Where's the logo file? Like, don't even worry about that. Like, we will help you figure all of that out. And just want to kind of acknowledge like the successes, the good stuff. So after we sadly had to kind of pause on the Berwick Quarterly, we did send out a survey, albeit it wasn't like a huge pool of survey results. There were probably about 24 respondents to that. But of the people that responded, overwhelmingly it felt like it felt very valuable, that people felt more informed about what was happening. Like Jeremy was saying, we made over $5,500 in sales from our merch. The Instagram following has more than doubled. since Marie took that over. We know that the business spotlights and the Berwick stories that Jeremy produced, the incredible video spots from, was it Hagmatack and Humblebee and Corner Point, some of our local businesses and farms. They're just really helping to build awareness, and people are starting to notice. We now get asked, businesses reach out on the regular to the Envision Berwick email requesting to be featured because they're seeing the impact that it's having. And other towns are noticing what we're doing, which is really kind of cool. So we got approached by, I think, both Somersworth and the town of Yarmouth to do requests for proposals to do branding in their towns. We do not have the capacity to do that, but it was just kind of validating to see that, people are noticing improvements that are happening here in Berwick. And
don't leave us.
Yeah.
Wait. Saying that your business doesn't have the capacity to take on another town's branding?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, our hearts are in Berwick too, so. So this is just a quick screenshot of some of after we launched the Berwick Quarterly, we got, there's a lot of negativity on Facebook. I think we all can realize that, but this was some refreshing, positive stuff, and this one in the middle was just really stuck out for me because it just says, we asked to be informed and someone listened. So it's just kind of that reassurance that, communication's a thing, people want to know what's going on, we did a thing.
And they appreciated it.
Yeah.
Yes.
You think there's a lot of negativity on Facebook?
I mean,
why is that?
I was having a discussion with somebody today, just like
Why is that? What's
Facebook is just all negativity.
I'm asking them.
Yeah.
Why is that? Do you have an opinion on why that is?
Why people are negative on Facebook?
Yeah.
If you're asking,
Why
I think
can't they
it's.
come here?
I think it's the same reason that you probably all, I would imagine, think. I think that it takes a lot more nerve to get up and say something here in a forum where you look people in the eye, or even over Zoom, than it does to write a nasty comment. And I
It's
think
very cowardly to write something on Facebook.
I mean,
No,
it could be any number of things, but it's
you're part of the problem.
it also doesn't take any effort, right? It's
Right,
very easy
right.
to just criticize.
It's too bad.
That's why
Or intelligence for many of them.
the world is full of critics and very few people who make things.
Yeah.
yeah. So that's why we push through, because I think that the work that's happening is worth doing, and we feel that it's important, and we love it. And I think overwhelmingly the response that we have heard has been way more positive than negative. Lawn chairs in particular was amazing. Just everybody that came up to our booth was just so psyched, and just the vibe there was magical. I feel really lucky to have been part of that.
Can I just say, as we get into next steps, to be really clear, this is not just, we think it would be nice if the town's colors were this, and we want to change everybody's shirts and jackets, and there is a very clear line from doing this work to bringing in money. And just to look you in the eye and say, in my heart of hearts and in Elise's heart of hearts, we truly believe that for Berwick to get the tax base successfully that it needs, that the Edge needs, that Alex needs in his place across the street, that is the future. Doing it with intention is going to affect the outcome so much more than just kind of going, well, we hope this works out okay. And some of this sounds kind of lofty, talking about brand and colors, and it's really important that people use the right logo and don't change the font. But it's real. It's a real thing. It will deeply affect the perception of somebody who's considering opening a business here or moving here, or just for our own personal pleasure of using a website that runs perfectly and has a search bar, and all of these things are part of that.
Yeah. To just make nice things look nice for the sake of doing that is pointless. We would not be doing that if there wasn't a strategy behind it. It's just, it really matters to make sure that there is a goal in place and to do all of this for that bigger goal. So we're going to keep going. So we're going to be presenting the budget later this month and prioritizing in that 2023 list in that massive, crazy table what we're going to do next. And we want to kind of encourage there to be a community communication liaison to also help us keep effectively sharing information on a regular basis, sort of the next iteration of what the Berwick Quarterly was, and whatever the next kind of phase of that is to be really effective. And again, just helping to kind of develop the process for making sure that we really preserve the integrity of our brand and reduce confusion across departments and entities. Yeah.
Yeah, keep the good vibes going so that there's full buy-in and everybody feels good about it. You know, it's
Yeah, we
not
want-
always easy, but it's
We want
it's
people
important.
to feel proud and, like a sports team or like anything that kind of has that really cohesive feel. We want that for Berwick too. So thank you very much.
I know that was a lot, but thanks, guys.
No,
Yeah.
thank you.
It's important.
Thank you very much.
No, as I said earlier, is the work that the Envision Berwick group has done over the last 9 or 10 years has been amazing. And as I said, it just seems like as some of us move on and stop going, is always seems to be more people to step forward, and it really encourages me.
Yeah.
And I think in my honest opinion is when you first showed up with branding 3 years ago or whatever it was, it felt to me like this would be cute, this would be fun. We're going to get a new logo for the town, but, it's a town thing. It's not really going to go much further than that, and at every step, it's just grown and become better and more stabilized, and it looks great.
Yeah.
So it's definitely proved my inner monologue wrong. Just because I thought it looked great when it first came out, but I just I wasn't sure that it was going to make that much of a difference. But when you do see it on signs and on vehicles and on shirts,
Has an impact.
and it is more unified. It not only does it look better, it does give a bigger sense of pride that it's a unified force, and it's great. I enjoy it, and I think it's really helping out the town. And you guys have put a lot of effort into it, which it's surprising to say. You think once you make the logo once, you don't have to do anything after that, but you guys really have put the effort into it as well to make it more known, to put it out there, and I think it's yielding results. So
No, and something that Jeremy said that I think holds true is, Sarah and I moved to Berwick to raise a family at the same time Elise did. So, kind of what was there, the school district, and looking at it. But I remember 2 years ago sitting here with Linda and Rob and talking about what are we going to do at the Edge, and what are we going to do to bring in business. And, as you talk about the brand of the town and you look at the signage, and it's become more than just families looking at a nice town that's close to the city that's going to be there, but then it's that tax revenue, that tax base. And now it's showing something that there is a community now. Businesses can see that, hey, this is what's really there, and this is a community that I might be successful moving into versus staying over the bridge in New Hampshire. And I think that's a piece that, was it the forefront or not, is going to be an underlying benefit that's going to become forward, that I think we're going to see, really a bigger benefit 4, 5, 6 years from now for what you guys have been doing the last 4, 5, 6 years and going forward. So I think that was, like I said, do it with intent, and you guys surely have, and thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're building a foundation right now. It takes a long time, and it's not going to happen overnight. There's definitely, it can feel like a slog sometimes, but if we do it intentionally, we keep saying that word, but it's true. Like if we just kind of really work toward having that a system that really feels fully developed, because you can just make a logo and yay, and then it's out there, but then you end up kind of like with everybody's doing that. It's the sports team analogy, if every player on a team had a different color and a different logo and a different thing, it's like it wouldn't feel like a team. So I feel like having something that really pulls us all together, and every kind of touch point you have, whether you walk into the town hall or you come over the bridge or you get a business card or you go to the website or you see a snowplow go by or whatever, it's like it just starts to permeate your brain, and it just becomes part of our town's DNA. So that's the goal.
Now, how do I get a Berwick hat for free? What do I do?
Nice and tightwad.
Jeez.
You got your check.
That's true. All right. Anything else?
That's it. We just wanted to fill you in on what we've been up to and where we're
Good
going.
job.
Yeah.
Good
Terrific.
job.
We look forward to hearing from you in the next month or so for budget stuff. and-
Absolutely.
Give that to Noah.
Been hanging out with us for the next 2 years.
There's a GoFundMe page.
He's Canadian. That's not helpful at all. All right. Then moving along.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you very
very
much.
much.
Thanks, Murray.
No unfinished business. Town manager report.
We've got a 97
Yeah, we gotta send other appointments.
97 Freightliner from the fire department. That's up for bid right now. $20,000 minimum bid. Submission deadline is January 23rd at 4 p.m. For more information, you go to the town website under business RFP/bid request.
What kind of fire truck is it? Tanker?
It's I think it has a cab. I don't think it's an actual.
I don't think it's a tanker.
The details are online.
Yeah.
Just throwing out there, gauging interest in the board going back to meeting on the first and third Tuesdays of the month.
Yep. Night, Jeremy.
While back, we switched to second and fourth. First and third can work better for the critical dates, and wouldn't have to move the meetings for when elections come around consistently. So it's something that we could look at doing for July, just the start of a fiscal year, and just go back to can start on the third,
Right now, it's a second and fourth, right?
second and fourth.
When was it last first and third?
Is we changed it.
A couple of years ago.
Well, several years ago is when
before
Ed Guinier
us.
was
Huh?
reelected.
Yeah,
it was before us.
That's right,
It
yeah.
was when Ed Guinier was reelected to the board, and he was attending the Legion meetings at the time.
Yeah.
And we decided the Legion wasn't going to change their day, so we just decided arbitrarily that we'd switch it over to the second and fourth. So there's nothing there that says one way or the other. It doesn't matter to me one way or the other.
So Patty, is it more logistical sense from your end and from? Okay.
Yeah, elections are typically second Tuesday of months, so it falls on a board night. It also makes sense for warrant signings for finance.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I'm good with that, yeah.
I'm good at moving that.
Because we have several reports due monthly, and we can't get the checks until you guys sign the warrant.
You can always cancel
We're
a
already
meeting.
way behind.
You can always
by the
cancel a
time we
selectmen's
meet.
meeting if it interferes with anything you have.
Yeah, listen to him.
No, she says she needs us to be.
They need it before.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
The what is there any beyond it being the fiscal year? Is there any other reason to put it to July?
There's just, I think, a natural. We
Right,
won't-
you
we won't-
gotta announce it. I was just gonna
people.
say that
Just to let
is,
people.
you gotta give some notice too as well,
Yeah.
you know, for the
But with
crowds
the
that come
public
in.
and-
We have an
Yeah.
election in June, though, right? Okay,
So
then
we
what
should
I would like to do
effect
is I'd like to make a motion that the board change its meeting dates from the second and fourth Tuesday of every month to the first and third Tuesday of every month, starting on June 1st.
Yeah, because this way it won't interfere with that election. I
Yeah.
can second that.
So, motion second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All right. So, starting in June, we will meet on the first and third Tuesday of every
What's the name of
month.
the company? Pickles and what?
All right, budgets are coming. I'm going to propose we meet regularly scheduled meeting for the 14th, schedule a special meeting for the 21st, and then we have a regular scheduled meeting for the February 28th, and then pencil in March 8th if we need it.
Okay, so go back to that, you just said the 28th of January,
No, February.
February?
Starting
February, yep.
February 21st as
We
an
haven't-
extra
yeah.
meeting.
February 14th,
Is scheduled
special meeting the 21st, regular meeting 28th, and then pencil in March 8th
if needed.
if we need it.
And March 8th would be the first Tuesday.
Hopefully we don't need it, but just in case.
Okay. And then 3:15 would be our regular.
Got it,
Oh, no.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I got one for you.
Be a normal meeting.
We have an issue with our Trio software with the police contracts going to 2.5% for the main PERS and us having other employees that are the 5%. Trio can't handle that. Also, we're going to bring forward this change anyways. I'll throw it out for tonight just for consideration. I have the language in front of me too here. But maybe it's something we can put on for the next board meeting as a amendment to the personnel policy. Again, if there's a issue with retiree hires in Trio not being able to do the different deductions for the employee or employer, the main PERS.
Have you contacted Trio to see if they can help with that? Because I know
We have been in
other
contact.
communities have to institute that.
Yeah, we have been in. I can check back in with Lisa. I had the same question, and she said that there's an issue with it.
Do we cut the payroll checks here? Employee checks, do they come out of here, or do we have a payroll company do it?
Like, come out of here.
Okay.
Yeah, they come here, yeah.
So I have the amendment. Actually, this is what it would look like.
So what are you asking for?
To change the personnel policy to match what we're doing for the police. And I'm not asking for any action tonight, just bringing it forward and something we can put on the agenda for next meeting if that's something, a direction we want to head in.
So how, I guess I'm all confused. You're saying that Trio can't implement this, but yet you want to change the policy.
Just because we have one where it'd be 2.5% where the town pays 2.5% and the employee pays the other 2.5%. And then we have another retiree hire, the code within Trio, that is the employee pays the 5%.
So the
But why put
policy,
the extra 2.5% of the
So changing the personnel policy would bring it all into 2.5% for the retiree.
so you're not looking to change the Trio system, you're looking to change the amount of percentage that the town pays for rehire.
Yep, retiree hires, yep. And I can actually have what that means financially for the next meeting. Just so we're looking at, just like we,
I want to see, yeah.
We
I
just
wanna
like we
see-
did for the-
I want to see the
is,
numbers
'cause
before I
this-
even.
just like we had for the police contract, that, what it means financially.
So right now, it stands that the employee pays the 5%.
Correct.
And you want to split that the employee pays 2.5 and the town pays 2.5.
Yep.
And you have a financial analysis breakdown of how much that's going to cost us?
I can do that. For a year, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
for a year.
But this only affects those who have retired and have been rehired.
Right,
Correct.
exactly, yep.
This is not for all employees.
Just retiree hires.
Right.
So
It's mostly the whole police department, isn't it?
half of them.
Half of it, yeah.
Right, and that's
A
already,
third of it,
and that's
actually.
already, that change has already happened for the officers in the police contract.
So what does their contract say?
It's the
2.5, it's not the
2.5%.
5.
2.5%.
Okay.
Yep.
But the rest of the town is still at 5,
Mm-hmm.
and this is going to change everybody to be uniform.
Yep.
And other than the police department, we don't have any other rehired,
Correct.
retired rehires
It's
anyway.
just
right?
police.
So it's just right now, it's the police
And
department.
there might be some fire that are coming up to be eligible. Last thing I have, the town submitted CDS funding, which is also known as the earmark for the downtown work. There's a $3.142 million funding package we've already been awarded. We just had to kind of apply to it to gain access to it. So we're just trying to get that money. Sebago Tech has helped us put it together. It includes $10 million of total projects to pretty much show the need. Hey, we need more than the $3 million. And it is going to be used for further funding packages. It does use some concepts from Malone and McBroom And the intention was to show those segments that some of them are pretty straightforward. Some of them we know there's very little that needs to be done. There's some that need to be completely reworked and engineered, and we need to spend some engineering dollars to make sure all the pieces fit together. And I probably can do a quick presentation or just get those segments down. Like from the Eleanor, so first of all, the Eleanor Sullivan Street, Main Street intersection needs to be completely reworked. And then from that intersection, pretty much right across the street, up. So it's pretty straightforward what needs to happen there. And then from there to the Jordan, Wilson, Sullivan intersection, very, very straightforward. Sidewalks on both sides, on-street parking, that's some of the other ones are more involved, and there's a lot of variables in what can happen. Something we talked about with Tom today is, we've kicked around the idea during the traffic study about turning Sullivan two-way. My opinion, Tom agrees at this point, I don't see a reason to go two-way. The cost benefit, the confusion, losing parking spaces, it works the way it is. There's an idea kicked around for a pedestrian plaza and closing off access through from Rochester Street and directing all the traffic down Eleanor. I'm not convinced, and that's not the intention of this funding package to do that. It's to fund some engineering to figure out what we do want to do.
Do we have all this on blueprints? What's going to happen? Is there a set of blueprints that Sebago did?
We have a mix of concepts.
5 or 6 different concepts.
Yeah. When are we going to get a hard?
So that's part of
this thing here?
So that's part of with this funding. The projects that we know, the projects that I would say are not controversial at all, that are just like, you're not going to do anything along Sullivan Street other than put sidewalks, and it's like, that's easy.
We're going to put down cement, hot top, brick sidewalks?
Probably cement, I'd imagine, but it's up for discussion. And I think sidewalk on both sides.
Yeah, no, you probably saw my email I sent out earlier. It's something that I've been involved with right from the start, before I was a selectman, with Envision Berwick. And there've been several concepts brought forward by different engineering firms that the nicest way I can put it is they were designed by traffic engineers. They didn't think about people. And they were thinking about moving vehicles and things. And the big concern was with lights over in Somersworth and the backups in Somersworth and things. And so there's a lot of things that were thrown around. And as James said, some of them, like the intersection with School Street and Sawmill Hill and that was pretty straightforward and stuff. The concepts McBroom, or whatever the name is there, had of closing off Rochester Street over in this side of the town hall and getting all that traffic to come around the town hall this way, I thought was absolutely insane. Is when you look at the 18-wheelers just going this way around, just imagine them both coming at this intersection here. So, as James and I had a discussion earlier, and as he explained to me, is those were put there just as a placeholder, more or less, to say we're considering some changes here, but we haven't made any final plans, and that's what the money that he's asking us to look at there is, to engineer it all out so we have one plan.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because one of the other plans,
I thought that's why we had Sebago.
They will do that.
So that the money we're paying them doesn't include that.
The application that we had to submit, I would have never in my life been able to do that. It was like, I don't even know, 60 pages and all this. So that they helped us. We paid them a little bit to get access to that $3 million, and then once we get that money, a certain percentage of that money will be allocated towards engineering, that's why we picked Sebago Technics.
Right.
We went on to bid for engineers, saying, "Hey, we have $3 million. We need an engineer to help engineer for those $3 million projects."
But yeah, that's one thing that we have been missing is an overall plan. You know.
Right.
I thought we
Yeah.
were going to change the parking out here too, to angle parking.
And
We
it's one
talked
of-
about that.
That's one of the things we've talked about. Again, nothing's been, put down on paper as, the final design, so.
There's some issues with backing up. I know on Rochester Street, there's an issue on backing up on state roads. I'm not sure if we're not stuck to that. I'm with you. I mean, if we can throw. I used to be a big, there's some benefits to having parallel parking because you can keep the street narrower. But I see angle parking working in a lot of different areas.
Here, on
Yeah.
this street out here, I think it will work. It works good in Dover. The only problem in Dover is it's hard backing out to Central Ave.
Right. I was backing out today.
Other than that, it works well.
There's a skill to
Traffic
it.
and you're backing uphill. And so.
Blind. So that's it. Dig a Hole once. We'll be meeting. We've been trying to nail down a date. I think Wednesday the 18th. It'll probably be in the evening
This month?
this month. Yep.
So the 18th,
Yep. It'll be both. It'll be a hybrid meeting. So as the projects kind of come down the line, there'll be more. Things will become more crystallized. And then there's the Sawmill Hill School Street project is $1.5 million project. That includes new sidewalks and alignment. The Outfall project, that's fully funded. That's $1.4 million. And also, we're probably going to get another grant for $50,000 to build out Great Falls Park. So it'll all be happening around the next 2 to 3 years. And there's more to go. City of Sanford, they did it pretty much exactly what we're doing, working with different engineers, different concepts, different projects, and then they went on top of that to get $25 million. We can do that to get another $7 million. I think.
where are
that's
they using that?
all different neighborhoods
Parts of
and
the downtown area.
So that must be where we got the job. Okay, we picked up a big job there.
right down,
Yeah.
pretty much downtown, but it spans 10, 15 different streets,
Right. Okay. Yep.
Yep.
including right in front of my apartment.
So as a follow-up, James, then, I don't know, a couple months ago, we talked about, you're talking about a lot of different changes in the town, you're talking about a lot of different things going on. We talked about getting that sign, you gave us some quotes on some prices for getting a sign out here that we can move around and different entities can use. What did we ever do with that? Did we purchase one?
No.
Or is it in this year's going to be, you proposing it in
Put
this
in
year's
this
budget?
put in this year's budget. Yep.
Okay, all right.
Did your price went out?
Yeah, they range. I think the one that we need is, I forget the exact amount, but I think it's in the 11,000.
Yeah, it was up there, it was
$15,000.
more than 10, and I was
That
kind of
much
shocked
money,
by
huh?
But it's one I've been talking with Chief Town. They have like radar built into it, so it's something that could be multi-purpose. And I talked with Chief Town about it could be housed there as well.
Yeah, but things like,
No parking during a snowstorm. We
Right.
can change it. All sorts of town meeting tonight. Selectmen's meeting tonight.
road closed, transfer station
Yeah.
rates changing, the library having an event. I'm just saying, if the town owns it, then we can let various departments utilize it.
You and I discussed this before, James, but I talked to you about Steve used to send us the week we weren't have a meeting. Steve would send us an email. Is that right, Tom?
He tried most
Right.
times. Yeah, we get a regular
I found
update.
it very helpful
Yeah.
to fire up my brain.
Sure.
So if you could do that,
Okay.
I
I know you've
appreciate
asked
it.
me about that before.
Yeah.
Anything else, James?
That's all for now.
All right. We have no select board communications. Accounts payable. All right. We have a payroll warrant number 42 from December 29th, 2022 in the amount of $85,428.11. We have payroll warrant number 43 from December 29th, 2022 in the amount of $1,959.29. We have payroll warrant number 44 from January 5th, 2023 in the amount of $74,764.39. We have accounts payable warrant number payroll warrant number 45 from January 12th, 2023, in the amount of $96,187.14. And we have the accounts payable warrant number 46 from January 10th, 2023, in the amount of $1,045,958.17. I make the motion that we pay our bills.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Bills paid. We have no new business, no quick claim deeds or installments. We have a payment and a penalty. So, Alex, is that you? Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, hey, Alex.
All right, so we do have an abatement for Glenn Emery. It's tax map R59-5 at 175 Blackberry Hill Road. The subject property is currently designated as a commercial warehouse on a parcel of land consisting of 2.41 acres. The building was previously used for warehousing purposes through a grandfathered commercial status. The business closed, restricting the ability to be used commercially and making it part of the R3 zone. This was discovered through a December 3rd, 2020 planning board meeting when the owner approached the planning board about renting the space out. The board discussed having a workshop to create an amendment to the current zoning. It was eventually decided that there was no interest from the planning board in pursuing the change any further. With that, the structure should be changed from a commercial warehouse to a residential. It is recommended that an abatement be granted in the amount of $1,003.92.
So, excuse me, but what the hell? So the guy's got an empty warehouse there that he can't use. That's bullshit. It's bullshit. That shouldn't be happening. I don't know. Give him the abatement, but I don't think that should be happening. That's wrong.
The planning board makeup's a little different, and I can, I can talk to planning and.
It is a
see
little
where it goes
confusing. He
again.
bought a warehouse and now he can't.
No, he had it. They had a farm equipment business there on Blackberry Hill
There was a
Road.
lag.
They own it. They wanted to turn it into a warehouse. They used to keep farm equipment in it anyway. It was grandfathered farm equipment. That's what they did.
Well, farm equipment's an allowed use there.
They used to sell farm equipment, but they don't anymore there.
Yeah, and the business closed, and so there was essentially a gap in between businesses. So
Yeah, but you know what?
the grandfathered status
Was eliminated.
was ended, yeah.
So the new owner bought it.
No,
No,
Glenn
it's
Harris
the
still owns it.
It's the same owner?
Same owner.
He just
Yeah.
wants a different business.
He wants to rent it out.
It's been closed as a warehouse. It was Hatley Emily's,
Blackberry Hill Farm Equipment.
Right, Blackberry Hill Farm Equipment years and years ago, and his son Glenn inherited it, and he kept it as a warehouse for a while. I know he kept stuff in there for quite a while, but I don't know when he stopped using it as the warehouse.
So what's he do? Tear it down and put up two houses? He's better off having a business there. We get taxes coming in. We don't have to
I
give him
don't know.
an abatement.
I don't know anything about the.
That has to change, James.
you
You
know.
got to figure that one out.
I brought
restriction.
it forward. I wasn't planning it. Never mind. I wasn't planning at the time. I brought it forward.
Guy wants to have a business and he can't.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can bring it forward again.
Yeah, let us know when the meeting is. We'll talk to him.
I will hear a motion.
I'll make a motion that the recommended abatement of $1,003.92 be granted.
I'll second the motion for discussion.
All right, any further discussion?
Yes, so my question then is, if we grant this, does that mean if he comes back before the planning board, that it can't go back to being?
Yeah, it can't go back.
It can go back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just need a land use. Basically, in the land use ordinance table, there's specific performance standards that would have allowed it, because what we didn't want to do is open up to large scale warehouse and distribution in the R3 zone. Is basically was the issue. But it's all written there, ready to go for like low.
It's a small plot of land.
For like
It's
low-
a small little building. There's no way they're going to go large scale anything. It's just too small of a site, and the building's too small. The man should be taken care of.
So then that brings my question, is so we agree to this abatement, that means he cannot rent it out, he can't do anything like that unless he goes back before the planning board.
Right.
He's got to go anyway before the
Yeah,
planning board to do it. And if
Right.
it goes back to warehouse, then the abatement goes negative.
Oh, wait,
And
okay.
regardless, as of April 1st, 2022, he couldn't do anything commercially with it.
Right, so he-
that's what the tax bill was based on.
Right.
The past year's tax bill.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because even if you were to go before planning at that point, then we would need to actually make an amendment to the land use ordinance
To change it.
so
Okay,
he would
all
have
right.
that ability, right? So
Okay. Sorry, I just need to clarify it.
as long as he doesn't start doing anything funky on it, I'm okay with approving it.
All right, all those in favor?
I didn't get a second.
It was
Oh,
Linda's.
that was
Maybe I
me.
missed it. Okay, thank you.
All right, and farmland penalty.
All right, we also have a farmland penalty for tax map R40-4-1 on Durant Road. Property owner Brown Industrial Group acquired the property from Esther Goodrich Puffer and Adam S. Puffer on 8/29/2022 through book 19101, page 229. This lot no longer qualifies for the farmland program due to the size. A penalty must be issued. You can see the attached farmland penalty calculation sheets calculated pursuant to the 36 MRS subsection 1112-C-3. Therefore, it is recommended that you approve a farmland penalty in the amount of $15,245.10 to the property owners for the removal of a 2.1 acre from farmland classification.
Alex, are they already aware that this will be coming?
Yeah, they were notified last week. Yeah,
To the dollar amount?
the notice went out in the mail last week.
It had a dollar
with the
amount? It had a dollar amount?
Yeah, with the dollar amount on it, yeah.
I'll make a motion that we approve the farmland penalty in the amount of $15,245.10 to tax map R040-4-1.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Patty, this one also has Ed Grenier and Ken on here.
Oh, good. We'll switch it. We must have used an old one, Alex.
Thanks, Alex.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you for waiting so long. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you. Have a good night.
All right. Second public comment. The public has left us. There's no executive session tonight. Just gonna ask Patty a question. Any other business non-agenda items?
Yes, Pat, your question.
I know, I'm joking to death, but okay.
Patty, this year,
Um,
we have 2 select board positions that are going to be open
In June, yes.
in June. So we need.
I don't think, have you made up your mind?
Of course he's gonna. What are you
I'm
talking
back on the
about?
line now myself. So I don't, you know,
Well, pretty soon you're going to have to take out nomination papers and all that stuff. And
we got a month or two left.
yeah, I'm just throwing it out there to the public to make sure that they know that this is coming. So that if somebody's out there that's eager to volunteer and wants to be part of this wonderful program,
This is a paid position.
it's a paid position. It pays about $25 a meeting. I think something like that. It's really worthwhile. I promise you.
Stop breaking it down by the minute.
Yeah. Don't break it down by the hour. You'll be depressed. Yeah. All right. So also, there was no form for Josh in here for the appointment for Josh.
Yeah, I thought that was the first one.
There should have been one.
I got one.
Yeah, I thought it was the first one we signed.
Jeremy, Bree, Elise, Cyrus. Yeah, there's not one for Josh's
You got all my
appointment.
copies,
Here.
but-
There's one in the book, but there's not one in here. So
Oh, maybe that's where I saw it in the book.
You can pull the book and sign that. That's
All right.
fine.
When it says copy.
yeah, it says copy at the top. Is that okay?
You guys are being difficult.
All right.
You know what happens if we don't
Okay,
correct
close
this tonight? You're going to come back to us next week and be like,
Can you come in here and get this done?
All right. I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second that motion.
All those in favor? Good night, folks.
Thank you, everybody.